Underground, overground, wombling free. The wombles of Wimbledon, common are we. Making good use of the things that we find, things that the everyday folks leave behind. Uncle Bulgaria, we can remember the days when he wasn't behind the times. With his map of the world, pick up the papers and take him to Trouble Marie. Wombles are organised, work as a team. Wombles are tidy and wombles are clean. Underground, overground, wombling free. The wombles of Wimbledon, common are we. People don't notice us, they never see. Under their noses a womble may be. We womble by night and we womble by day, looking for litter to trundle away. We're so incredibly, utterly devious, making the most of everything. Even bottles and tins, pick up the pieces and make them into something new. It's what we do. Underground, overground, wombling free. The wombles of Wimbledon, common are we. Making good use of the things that we find, things that the everyday folks leave behind.
The Wombles of Wimbledon, common. Why are we playing that on the Keynsham Hour? Well, obviously, people in Keynsham will have guessed well before the track came to an end, because we have with us the Queen Womble of the Wombles of Keynsham Memorial Park. Someone else. Erica, welcome.
Thank you, Rick.
Hope you weren't insulted by our musical introduction, but I do at the I do recall last Saturday at this big conference, I'm going to call it, that you hosted. A number of people in the subsequent work groups were talking about reviving that music in Keynsham and having it played in the schools and making sure all the kids knew about Wombles, even if they didn't already, from your loyal and devoted band. Now, this conference last Saturday morning in Keynsham, your plan to make Keynsham a litter-free town.
Yes.
Tell us all, Erica.
Well, it's something...
And welcome to the programme.
Thank you, Rick. Well, it's something I've been thinking about for a while. As you know, Keynsham Wombles have been wombling in Keynsham since the music festival in 2012. And we've made a big difference, as in I think we are picking up a lot of litter, people can see the difference, but it is still getting dropped. So we've been thinking for about 18 months, how can we change this? And we think it needs a real shift in people's way of thinking across the whole of our community. And so we thought by getting together representatives from all different groups across Keynsham, and we had nearly 50 people there on Saturday, that by talking together we could make a start. So we haven't got all the answers, but as you say, some good ideas came up, like bringing back the Wombles on TV, so at least people would know who the Wombles were. But there were also some much more constructive ideas, like reusable water bottles at the music festival, working in schools, looking at sort of group litter picks in schools. Not that it's just young people that are the litter problem. There's groups of people across the whole of our society.
One thing about Saturday morning, I mean, how many people were there? It was a lot of people giving up a whole Saturday morning from 9 till 12:30.
Which was brilliant. There were just short of 50 people there,
and they were all specially invited, basically.
All specially invited, yes.
And they all the people you invited turned up, I assume, because there wasn't much room left in them. You know, what with the tables and the workstations and everything. Is a litter-free town? I mean, what would be your definition? of a litter-free town? And is it possible?
Well, I don't think it's completely possible because, of course, there always will be litter. Things get dropped by accident, that kind of thing. But I think you can get a gradual shift in the way, changing the way people perhaps think, or and just doing things differently. I mean, one of the things we were talking about was the new recycling lorries, which have been designed, for the ones from November, which we're told have been designed in such a way that as the lorries drive along, they won't have all the plastic blowing back out of them, which is what happens at the moment. Yeah. So there's changes that can be made that are just common sense changes. And we were talking about things like making bins more visible, that kind of thing.
Big smileys on bins so that people...
Kind of thing, yes.
That's not a bad idea, is it?
Yeah.
If you're serious, that's really... something like that's got to happen. I mean, it's Wednesday morning in Keynsham, it's the worst litter problem, isn't it? Especially on a windy day.
And it is really difficult, isn't it? Because we all want to recycle, but especially as you say, on a windy day, it is really difficult. You put it out, and it gets blown about, and then it's a bit of a job.
There are those people who do put it out 2 days early, of course, which is I noticed in the local social media the other day a thread about that, which is not useful, is it? It's
not, because I think just the fact that it's out on the street does... It sort of attracts litter somehow. I mean, I've noticed, even the evening before, when people have put all their recycling out, that somehow there's already recycling in the street. And I'm thinking, well, where's that come from?
I was going to say, I don't want to rush you or anything, but the speaker from Keep Britain Tidy...
Rose, she was brilliant
at the meeting.
Yes.
I was fairly impressed. But it wasn't about keep Britain tidy, pick up your litter or anything. But it was a lot of scientific research and indeed psychological research.
Yes,
which they are now kind of taking on board in terms of how we deal with it. And talking about and how we change people's behaviour.
And we can tap into all of that. And she was talking a lot about making it fun and making sure that facilities are in the right places for people, that they're visible and that people know how to use them. Yeah. So she had some really useful tips, which... and she was really keen to work with us. So I'm really hopeful that in Keynsham we can implement some of the things she suggested.
Do you think, I mean, the work group that I started, that I listened to after all the original speeches and stuff, it kind of, it was sort of unsurprisingly inevitable that it kind of began with a kind of default position that it's young people causing the rubbish problems.
Ooh, I don't think that's true.
Well, no, and then one or two people around the table said, "Hang on a minute, that's not exactly right."
I mean, I think the group you were in was talking about education, and I tried very hard to make it. Yes, obviously, it's important that learning about litter and rubbish happens through our period when we're at school, but also there's lots of people who it's still an issue even though they've left school. So I really wanted that group to also not only to talk about how can we get this education in schools, but to also talk about how can we educate people who've left school and who aren't necessarily in any particular group. But then again, some of the things that Rose in the Keep Britain Tidy talk was talking about that may tap in for that. But I mean, the more litter picking I've done. Yes, young people do drop litter, but then so do older people.
Indeed. Okay, let's pause there.
Underground, overground, wombling free. The wombles of Wimbledon, common are we. Making good use of the things that we find, things that the everyday folks leave behind. Uncle Bulgaria, we can remember the days when he wasn't behind. are clean. Underground, overground, wombling free. The wombles of Wimbledon, common are we. People don't notice us, they never see. Under their noses a womble may be. We womble by night and we womble by day, looking for litter to trundle away. We're so incredible.
Okay, we're talking to Erica, the Chief Womble of Keynsham, in the studio with us this afternoon. And this is following a large conference last Saturday morning in the space, with over 50 people specially invited to discuss the notion of a completely litter-free Keynsham, and Keynsham being the first, a scheme which Keynsham will pilot for being the first place in the country.
Well, that's right. I mean, I was hadn't really realised that what I was thinking about was unique, and Keep Britain Tidy are really keen to work with us on it, because they say nobody's come up with this idea before, which I find completely amazing.
So do I. Because there are a lot of litter groups around the country.
There are,
I mean,
yes,
the presentations at that meeting sort of shown that.
But they seem to concentrate just on picking up litter, which is great and needs to be done. But I mean, I just think, well, there's no point in just keeping on and on picking up litter. Well, there is, obviously, but you need to work on changing how things
So
are
you're
done.
kind of taking it into a political level, a step up. You know,
Yes,
it's more about the
Yeah.
whole community, and I think also it's about kind of people were saying, weren't they, the health of a community, and whether a community is healthy and caring and considerate and stuff like that. Having said that, you do a fantastic job in Keynsham. I think we all know that. You do a particularly amazing job, say at the time of the music festival, when by the Monday morning after the weekend, very few people walking through the park would actually know that anything had happened. It's no scenes of massive, which is an extraordinary achievement. But how bad is Keynsham for litter? Because a lot of people would say, well, it's not too bad, actually.
Litter's an interesting thing. I mean, I just walking up the road to you this afternoon, Rick, walking up Queen's Road, there is litter, and I find that offensive. To me, it shows that there's other people who just don't feel the same way about the community that we share as I do. And part of this project will hopefully be getting to the reasons behind why people feel so differently. And this is when this litter-free project becomes such a huge task, because you're not, to me, litter is a symptom. It's a symptom of people who feel unhappy in their community. And so that's a huge topic to look at.
Which comes first, an OBE or an MBE? Because Seb's just been pointing out there he hasn't got a clue, but then neither have I, and neither is Erica, by the sound of it. But I think whichever comes first, you're probably well on the way to getting one, Erica. So what happens next in Keynsham? Keynsham, a litter-free town, piloting a scheme with Keep Britain Tidy for the whole country.
This is what we're aiming for. The next thing that needs to happen is I need to get together with my committee following last Saturday's workshop, and we've got so many ideas from that workshop. We just need to sit down and try and work out how we're going to approach this so that none of us get burnt out. Obviously, the more people, if people want to join in, if people want to help, if they've got different skills, whether that's IT skills or design skills, or people who just want to get stuck in, we're always open to new volunteers, and because there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah,
it's a big project.
And it doesn't come for free. I mean, are you okay for cash and that kind of thing?
So far, Keynsham Wombles has worked on a budget of less than £1,500 per year.
Well, that's fine. You don't need a budget to go around picking up litter.
Well, it's surprisingly expensive. Those litter grabbers cost nearly £20 each. So by the time you've scaled that up to 150 volunteers, it costs. It does cost.
Now that was interesting. Was it the guy from who was the first speaker on...
George. Clean Up UK.
Clean Up UK, another organisation. He was saying one of the problems is people are now so attuned to cleanliness and health and safety that people are saying, don't touch that litter, don't pick it up without specialist equipment. And that's actually not helping to solve the problem, because there's a can on the floor, a kid can go and pick it up and put it in the bin. Parents say, don't touch, don't touch.
That I find that a real issue. I mean, I think you have to use common sense, don't you? I mean, if you see something that's a broken glass or something, then obviously you want children to be able to understand that they should, or anybody to understand that they can't just go and pick that up.
Of course.
If it's a crisp packet, I don't think anybody's going to suffer from picking it up.
No, yeah,
and there's this thing called washing your hands as well, which which we have to do. But I mean, I certainly know when we're working with children, we do have to be, when we're with them as responsible adults, we have to be careful about what they do, and it's better to teach them in those instances to use a litter grabber. Though,
Well, yeah, it makes sense. It's rather more pleasant, isn't it? Whatever happens.
Yes.
And of course, there are areas of, things like needles and stuff like that. Not a problem in Keynsham, or
we haven't ever found one.
Right.
So it hasn't been an issue, but our insurance doesn't cover us for needles. So if we did find one, we just have to phone the council.
But I know where I used to work in Bristol, you could just see them whenever you wanted, really, if you really used your eyes lying around. So did we say what's next? What happens next with the Keep Keynsham, a litter-free Keynsham project?
We've got a lot of... So I'm thinking that some of the projects that were suggested that sound really good was there was talk of doing something at Wellsway School, which we're really keen to do. We're also setting up a junior Wombles project. We want to think of a better name for it than that, but we can't. We haven't thought of one yet. Which will basically be people who are qualified to work with young people, because there's obviously you reach a certain age, you don't want to be litter picking with your parents, but we can't. People who are under 18, we can't say to them, go and do it on your own. So we're hoping to have a sort of halfway house, and then we're looking.
But they can say to themselves, "Let's go and do it on our own."
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. Well, but we can't. No. We can't say that they can do it, if you know what I mean. Life being as it is nowadays.
Indeed.
But, yes, and we're hoping to do some special things with you at the music festival.
Of course, yes.
So,
and it looks as though quite an eco kind of waste conscious, recycling conscious theme is developing,
which is fabulous,
with Resourceful Earth and various other things going on in the summer, as well as the music and everything.
I'm looking forward to it already, Rick.
I'm looking forward to the week after, but anyway, never mind. Seb's saying time's running out a bit. Anything you need to say that we haven't covered for the public?
Just if anybody wants to get in touch with us to join in, to contact us at wombles@transitionkeynsham.org.
That's the website?
It's an email address.
Email? Is it? Yeah. Wombles at, I see, of course, transitionkeynsham.org.
We have a Facebook page, Keynsham Wombles.
Keynsham Wombles Facebook. And do you have counterparts in Midsummer Norton Radstock?
No.
But do they have... We don't know.
We don't know. But if they want to, I mean, there's Salford Wombles.
Salford Wombles,
yes,
of course.
Yes, they're very active.
Yes, I was talking to a lady from Salford Wombles on the Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so people in the whole Summer Valley FM area, I mean, it's going on in Keynsham. I'm sure it could be going on in your area too. And if it is, let us know, and we'll make sure that publicity gets around. Erica, thank you very much. Second time you've been with us. Always a pleasure. Third. We've been doing this show for over 2 years now, almost without a break.
It's ageing me horribly.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think we almost live in this little room, don't we, Seb?
Very much so.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Erica. And it's a really exciting project. I hope we've done it justice in this short interview, but I think, the proof will be in the pudding, won't it? And I'm pretty sure with you at the helm, this isn't going to go away and things are really going to happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you for talking to me.